Sorry about that. So my computer died. I do this every single time. I should have learned my lesson by now with plugging in computers before they die. Then I was trying to get into my husband's computer and I don't know how to access it, which is what I was on. And so I logged myself out. And my computer that I just got, a secondhand one, is not working right. So I'm on this phone. So anyway, continuing on, I'm going to get out of this. As I was continuing to share, prior to my accident, I didn't live in authenticity. I didn't live in truth because of abuse that I experienced from the time that I was a little girl. I had placed so many walls around me in a self-protective type of mechanism. I didn't allow myself to be vulnerable with people. From the outside, people thought that I was confident and put together, but I couldn't share my pain. Hell, it took me over 10 years, about 10 years after my dad died, for me to share in full truth the relationship that I had with him. I allowed myself, which is not fair. I'm trying to close out of this browser so I can get back into my Twitter messages. I allowed myself to carry other people's pain and their secrets, which hindered my growth and my healing, and that's not fair. I will not move forward in my life carrying other people's secrets. And that's something that hopefully in sharing my journey, I can encourage other people who are choosing to heal, because it is a choice. You get to choose whether you live in dysfunction, lies, secrecy, and you get to choose whether or not you're going to live in truth and healing. That's your choice. That's not my responsibility. And for too long, I cared more about other people's healing than I did my own. And then I got responsible. And then I started to care about my healing journey and my legacy and me living in my full truth and all of my giftedness and not lowering myself to make other people who are choosing to live in dysfunction and pain. I had to choose to live in truth. I had to choose to let go of other people's dysfunction and people choosing not to heal in order for me to continue moving forward. I came to realize that in caring more about other people's healing than my own, that I was choosing to participate in them hindering my movement forward. And my movement forward, let me log into Twitter right here. My movement forward is what's going to allow me to live fully in God's purpose and calling on my life. You don't do anybody any favors from holding yourself back from being completely and fully who God created you to be. You don't help your abusers by carrying their secrets, because when you continue to carry their secrets, there's no opportunity for healing. And people can live in denial, but that's the same thing with alcoholism. Until somebody understands their dysfunction and their need for healing, that's not even an option. I took the time and I put the work into my own healing. Every single day, I look at myself. I look at my weaknesses. I look at where I fall short. I am going to be forever my toughest critic. People want to come at me and try to bully me. They have no idea internally how hard I've been on myself my entire life. Every single day, I look at how I can improve. Every single day, I believe in dying to yourself and growing more into who God created you to be. So yeah, my choice to heal, that affects my ability to parent my children most effectively with all of the lessons that I've learned through abuse, through pain, through loss. My choice to heal is what is going to affect the legacy that I leave behind. I don't understand people, and this is another post that I had today. I don't understand people that are in so much pain that they find joy in knocking other people down. I'll never understand that behavior. Me personally, I've always sought out people who are further along on their journey, who have learned more on their life journey than I have, because I've always sought to do better and to be better. You never lift yourself by knocking other people down. My spirit is one that's always been of encouragement. From the time I was a little girl, I fought for healing and for love and for truth. And I carried a lot of other people's pain, and I took a lot of other people's abuse. And I always put myself as if I didn't matter. But I've come to learn that I do matter. And I've come to learn that I deserve the love that I've always given to other people. Speaking out against abuse from the time that I was a little girl got me called more names. It got me hit more. But it also brought me, God used me from the time I was a little girl. It also brought to the point exposure of truth. It brought to a point true heart posture change and repentance, and a true apology and ownership of how somebody else's pain inflicted on me was wrong. And that is an apology. That is the type of courage and humility. It can't be faked. You can't put on a mask and fake that behavior. It is something that I will carry to my grave and always be thankful for. I want to continue on with the message that I got from Twitter. And if you're tuning in late, I started on another video and then the computer died. So I had to power up. And anyway, I had started talking about this woman, Cici, who found out about me through my voice, through speaking up against Michigan State University, and my former medical school dean, William Strample, who was found guilty on both misconduct in office and for how he failed to properly supervise Larry Nassar. I also, in the first video, explained who Larry Nassar is. What a disgrace to the profession of medicine. I think that every single doctor, especially doctors of osteopathic medicine, should have been more vocal in speaking up against the abuse at the hands of Larry Nassar. However, at the same time, I'm in a unique position because speaking out against abuse in 2010 medicine placed me where I was when I was hit by a semi-truck at 65 miles per hour. I lost everything that most doctors would fear losing already. So I can speak truth to power without the fear of losing my career. I've already lost it. So anyway, this woman, Cici, she talked to me, and I shared with her how I am currently at the level of the U.S. federal court with the Hartford Group, which is part of a billion-dollar industry in terms of insurance. And I shared in the first video the tactics and what these disability insurance companies do in order to get out of paying claims that people deserve, that people rightfully receive. So anyway, this gets to a little bit personal stuff, and I take pleasure in discussing this because some hateful people have told me that I'm not a doctor despite graduating medical school as a doctor, so that's funny. So anyway, Cici genuinely asked me this question, which I have no problem answering questions. So she said, I'm now looking over to this other computer. I'll bring it here so my face doesn't turn so much. Cici asked me, sorry, Nicole, wanted to ask you about licensing, but felt bad writing it publicly on Twitter. Not sure if you applied for medical license because of your injury or if you plan to. Is it more difficult for U.S. trained health providers? I just daydream while watching House Hunters International, but you never know. Seeing your photos, I started dreaming again because we live in Grand Cayman, Cayman Islands. You followed your dream. Your kids are very lucky. You are raising global citizens. I shared with Cici. I am not licensed here. I am not sure clinical medicine is part of how my education, degrees, and experiences will be used in the future. Clinical medicine in my body, not ideal or possible at this time. I did have a limited license back in the States. My accident occurred before I could get my full clinical license. My education is way more than what most doctors have here in Cayman, though. I have 5 years undergrad, then 4 years medical school, then 6 months postgraduate training. I could do another 6 months of training in the States and practice general medicine. We felt led to this island. Too much to write here about that. I share about this in my book manuscript that I wrote in 2017, currently sitting in my Dropbox account. God definitely had a greater plan. I love raising kids here. They are so carefree. There are also people from all over the world that they are surrounded by. I love culture and diversity. Never stop dreaming and never give up, especially on yourself. I remember when in medical school driving in Siesta Keys, Florida, my husband used to work in professional baseball as a minor league umpire, so I was there visiting him, and thinking to myself how I'd love to be surrounded by water. So healing. And well, God heard me. Cici responds to me, I have chills just from reading this. Yes, I remember reading that the accident occurred as you were transferring from the hospital and an abusive boss, so I assume that you were probably still in PT, physical therapy, because of the severity of the accident. Nicole, I know your survival was a miracle, but having Ehlers Danlos makes your survival even more miraculous. All the tears, cuts, internal bleeds, you truly are a shiny, walking miracle with healing powers and sparkly personality. Cannot wait for your book. I wrote to her, actually, the Ehlers Danlos, I suspect it and has been confirmed by my current PT, who also has Ehlers Danlos and POTS syndrome, is part of what helped save me. That and my very fit physical state at the time of the accident, but most importantly, God. I called out to God during those moments in time that I will never forget. I know that I am here by the sheer grace of God, no doubt about it. I should have died. I have been reminded time and time again when I see others who died of relatively less severe quote unquote accidents. A sobering reminder every single time. Cici responds, it was not your time to go. You had beautiful life to live, amazing children to love, perpetrators to get arrested, and warriors to heal waiting for you. Thank God for that. Forgive my ignorance. I just assumed that injuries would have been more severe and healing more delayed. This is where I ask for clarification. What do you mean by more severe and healing more delayed? Having daily chronic pain, PTSD, spine surgery, a concussion? None of that has been a walk in the park. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. And I would have preferred some broken bones over what I've gone through. My disability has been hidden, but I'd never say that it hasn't been severe. With that said, yes, God allowed me the second chance at life. I live with gratitude every single day. Not a day goes by that I don't give thanks to God for a new day. My life, especially since my accident, has been hard with trial after trial. I've gone through so much, and without my faith, I don't think I'd be here. And I'm not joking. Without my faith, I likely would have given up a long time ago. I thank God for children who have continuously been my greatest motivators for pushing forward in life despite all of the pain, hardship, loss, and so on. Cici responds to me, and she gave me permission to share this conversation. I am so sorry. I meant from the initial accident. I read that Ehlers Danlos can cause problems with healing. This is true. Thank God in your case that was not an issue. It was. I am so sorry if it came across the wrong way. Didn't take it that way. I did not realize you had spine surgery and concussion. I assumed it was serious but did not know the details. Compared to everyone else, I will light years ahead without information. I don't quite understand that. What I wanted to say is that I was wrong about Ehlers Danlos. That is what I meant. Trust me, I've not been through 10% of what you successfully dealt with, and certainly I don't have the same strength. That is why you are such an inspiration to me, and I know will be to so many others when your book is published. I assume that such severe injuries would not allow you to work. I am sorry for being not stupid, to ask you about the license. Nicole, I am afraid to come forward, and my pain is so small compared to what you have experienced physically, the accident, and emotionally in your school. I have PTSD, depression, sadness, and I am ashamed to feel it when I see what other men and women have been through, so I apologize again. I wrote, before seeing all of her message, and my healing has come at a great cost. Understatement. Pretty much every single relationship in my life was affected due to that semi-truck driver's negligence. I no longer talk to many of the people who I had relationship with at the time of my accident, including family members. Yes, the Ehlers Danlos has resulted in issues with my healing. I still have pain 8.5 years later due to that accident. I'd love to have a day pain-free. My accident-related issues is keeping me from work. Cici wrote, yes, I am sorry. I meant the initial accident, not the healing process. Of course, you have chronic pain. Only a fool would think one can recover from being hit by a truck. I responded, no need to apologize. I have over 2,600 pages of medical charts, and that was 1.5 years ago. It has been a very hard journey. Cici states, yes, I suspected that you would not be able to work. I am sorry. And then I shared, also compare or minimize what you are experiencing. Your pain matters. Cici states, but if family and friends are not there during your hardest times, who needs them? I wrote, the initial accident, that should have killed me. And Cici says, yes, that is what I meant. I continue on to share with Cici that I've come to learn that they needed me. Very hard and painful lesson to learn. They actually hindered my healing, but no more because God removed them. Cici says that is why I liked your article. It is hardest to set rules and boundaries, at least for me with my family. Cici read an article that I have on my website, a blog, talking about why and when you should love somebody from a distance. You can read that at www.drnicolemeastman.com if you want to read that article about loving people from a distance. Cici said, it is hardest to set rules and boundaries, at least for me with family. You always have guilt. I said, initially I felt sad. However, the guilt should be owned by them. Now I feel freedom. I think of all that my little ones are being protected from due to God's protection, which I prayed for years without really knowing why I felt led to pray those prayers. Cici states, Nicole, you are a rock star and very, very inspirational. What I was trying to say and have not been able to, when one feels bad for themselves, sometimes I do, and they read success, recovery, and happiness from someone who has been through so much more, is a reminder that it is a choice to be happy, and like you said, fight for justice, but be happy. I shared with Cici, yes, it is a choice to choose happiness, yet at the same time, that does not mean that I haven't experienced and moved through a wealth of emotions. That is okay and healthy. It is whether or not we get stuck in those emotions or use them to keep moving forward. Cici states, you have amazing charisma and energy as it is, but when I heard about the accident, that really put things in more intense respect for you. You were raising family healing, should, body, and still doing, reaching out to others to hold criminals accountable. I wrote, before my accident, I suppressed my emotions, and that was unhealthy. Thank you, Cici. Learning about justice was a process for me too. Cici says, that is why I think you would also be an amazing and inspirational speaker at conferences, and of course you must publish your book. This is where I get to the judgment part. This is what prompted me to do this video today. Cici shares, quote, I was telling a family member about you, and I said, looking at this beautiful blonde, highlights, young doctor, I have gray in there naturally these days. I said, looking at this beautiful blonde young doctor with a magnetic smile, you would think not a worry in the world. Please don't take it the wrong way. I say it because your life story shows you've lived so many lifetimes and you still came through shining. Every time I hear something new, I am taken back. There are 80-year-olds who have not been through what you have been through, but that is a lesson too. You never know. Everyone has a story. I am ashamed of my fear, but I am still afraid. This is where I shared with Cici. I have money for every time my appearance has deceived people. I'd be really monetarily wealthy. Money doesn't make you rich, by the way. I have believed for a long time, this is what I'm sharing back with Cici. I have believed for a long time that this is part of the message that God will use me for. I was teased a lot growing up for my weight, my freckles, they're all over my body, my nose, my breasts that developed while I was young. You could see my breast development in 3rd grade. And then for my relatively large breast for my frame. I was called fat all the time. I was not the quote-unquote popular girl, but I got along with most everyone. I always spoke up against abuse and injustice. I am praying for impartation of strength and courage to you that is greater than you. You have the same divine strength living within you as I do. You just need to realize and embrace that truth. Cici shares with me, I hope that whatever settlement or lawsuit, I hope and pray you win. You get that it allows your family to be comfortable so that you can pursue God-given talents you have and your passions and still take care of your beautiful family. What kindness. I shared to Cici, for little girls who do not feel pretty, who pray for flat stomachs, like I literally did. They need to know that life is funny. I became more societally defined beautiful with age. Personally, I see beauty where others often see ugliness. I continue to say thank you to Cici. I have prayed over this Hartford case, which is currently at the level of the U.S. federal court. It has been going on for a long time. My appeal started a year and a half ago. They've harassed me for 8 years. They are terrible. I fight for me and for all the others that they do. They do this to everyone. Most do not have the education or legal representation. And then I shared with her that I would likely do a video based on this conversation, which she agreed with. She writes back to me, you made me cry. Thank you. I wish I knew about this support warrior team sooner. Not a victim mindset, a warrior mindset. You can be victimized and still not see yourself as a victim. Maybe initially you see yourself as a victim. I did in the beginning. I lost everything. I was victimized. But now, through this journey of healing, I'm not a victim. I was victimized by definition. I am a warrior. I am a fighter for truth and for positive change and for justice. Cici continues to share that another thing is you and your husband went through so much, yet you were not afraid to start family, move, share your life with others, so many blessings for others, and I'm sure others reading your story will be able to relate to something. I shared with Cici, oh Lord, Cici, now you are opening up another box of my journey. My marriage has been far from easy. My marriage is a testament to God's grace and mercy and the power of forgiveness. Lordy, Lordy, I share this in my book too. My husband has grown into a good man, but that has not always been the case. God has had a plan in all of this, which was beyond us. Looking back and seeing all the pieces fit together, there was no other way than God. When I hated my husband and felt unloved and betrayed by him, God gave me the strength to stay the course. I tolerate it way more than I should have or would now. But that was all part of our journey. Cici writes, yes, I read somewhere, cannot remember where that investigators were looking through your windows. What were they looking for? That is crazy. That is why I feel terrible to have offended you. I cannot believe it has been going on for so many years. Yes, of course, you can share. What I admire about you the most is that unlike myself, you get stronger and happier with every obstacle thrown your way. It does not affect your attitude and joy for life. That is why I am saying you have this ability to turn most challenging life events into positive. You know there are women who go through heartbreak and it is enough to affect them. Nicole, you turned it happy marriage. It must be the strength of your faith. It is. Have you had anyone approach you regarding publishing your book? I wrote to Cici, the investigator was paid to follow me. This is by Hartford Group, which is at the level of the U.S. federal court now. He followed steps behind me in a grocery store video recording me, along with videoing me going through a drive-through car wash, all in attempts to make me out to be a liar. I had to write a 9-page letter rebutting his stupidity. Also, I don't take offense, but rather ask for clarification. Yes, every single struggle, trial, etc. is being used for good. You can do this too. If I can do this, so can every single person listening to me. I am connected to different people in publishing, and I've worked with self-publishing entities in the past on several books, but no, not on this book yet. Trusting God on it, though. Cici says, that is really crazy, and just the attorney costs and investigator costs rather than doing the right thing by you and your family. I stated that I learned of that investigator right before we moved here to Grand Cayman in August 2012, and at that time I was 6 months pregnant with my son. Cici writes, oh my God, I thought they followed you to Cayman Islands. They could have, and I just don't know. What an invasion of privacy, but that too shall end. I just want you to know that your openness to share, to answer questions as well as life story is life-changing for me. As I said, I already shared it with people in my life. I hope this legal pain in the butt ends soon. If you could thrive with challenges, it will only get better from here. You know what a gift it is to have people speak life into me? I don't take this for granted. What has been the best help for you with chronic pain? PT? You also mentioned PTSD. What helped you with PTSD? PTSD. Hopefully my answers here will help other people. I shared with Cici in regards to the person following me. It was very violating. And as a woman with chronic pain, it made me feel more vulnerable. No woman should experience that. I have had a lot of therapy. Again, a year and a half ago, I had over 2,600 pages of medical records at that time. Currently, I have a new PT who has Ehlers Danlos and POTS. Extremely helpful to have somebody working on you that intimately understands you. I've also had myofascial, very gentle chiropractic care, and that has served to help me. Cannabis oil was helpful, but I was too sensitive to the THC. And so before Easter, after having 4 reactions, I stopped using it. Cannabis oil, it allowed me to finally get sleep after over 7 years of all night long flipping back and forth because I could never get comfortable because I was in pain. Getting sleep, sleep cannot be understated. Healthy sleep in terms of your overall well-being should be spoken more about in medicine. Maybe that's part of what my voice will be used for in the future, because getting sleep personally through the use of cannabis oil allowed me to get stronger. I did 1 session of EMDR on my 8-year accident anniversary. It's a type of psychotherapy that works with stored memories in trauma. That was hard work, but I think that it was helpful with PTSD. I need to do more of that. In Michigan, I had therapeutic massage 2 times a week, and I miss that. That's something that I cannot get with my insurance here, but that definitely helped me. Cici shared, oh my God, Nicole, if you cannot sleep, how do you function? Just Googled EMDR. You are an encyclopedia on loving, leaving, healing, and going forward. I said, without sleep, good sleep, life is hard. I lived that life until I had access to cannabis oil, which was around a year ago that I first got this new pain specialist who was knowledgeable about it. It served its purpose, but it's no longer an option for me. And thank you, your kindness and feedback is appreciated. Oftentimes, tell me who can relate to this, we don't see what others see in us. And Cici writes, that is why I reached out to you. I could not believe how reading your story uplifted me, gave me courage, and brought me joy to continue being who I am, even though so many people around me have different values. I was shocked to find out that cannabis was so helpful for children with seizures. I'm not sure it would work in your case, but I had some injuries and have been reading a lot and found that comfrey oil has helped me a lot. Who knows if it worked or if it were psychological, but pain went away. You, of course, have had much more complex health issues due to your accident, but I thought I would just bring it up to you. You are my hero, and I hope that people get access to hear you speak and or read your book and get inspired by you. I thanked Cici, and I thanked her for sharing about comfrey oil, telling her that I'd looked into that more. Also, I'm glad that I shared that I was glad that her physical pain went away and that my voice assisted her within her spirit. That makes me feel very grateful. Personally, I pray for and I ask other people to pray for me in regards to God continuing to open doors for my voice to be used for good, as she stated in her last sentence. And then the rest of the conversation is more about her experiences after I asked if she'd be willing to share more about what she's gone through. And she's still working on that journey, and that's something, when people share their experiences with me, I've had people who have shared adulterous marital issues with me. Some of those people I no longer talk to, but I still hold those conversations with respect, confidentiality, and I honor those relationships. I would never break that trust. I would never betray people, even people who have betrayed me. So I hope in sharing these 2 videos, the first one got cut off because, once again, I didn't charge my husband's computer before I started doing it. But I hope that these videos bring more conviction, bring more truth, bring more healing, bring more awareness to who I am, because I am very well aware at this point along my journey of who I am. And I pray for more healing for those listening to me, I pray that my voice can bring you strength and courage. Years ago, I never looked at myself and identified with being courageous. It took a lot for me to embrace and not hide who I am. And that's liberating. And I pray for other people to take a good hard look at themselves. This life is very short. My accident intimately showed me in a matter of seconds how everything you identified with can be taken from you beyond your control within a mere matter of seconds, leaving you broken, desperate, hopeless, experiencing the darkest, ugliest moments of your life, making you question why you survived, thinking that it would have been easier to survive or die, than to survive and go through what you were going through every single day of your life due to somebody else's negligence. Being so fearful as you see everything that you worked so hard for be ripped away from you at no fault of your own. Those were scary, dark times in my life at the beginning of 2011. But like Cici said in the beginning of our conversation on Twitter, privately, I had choices to make. When I felt hopeless, when I heard that small, still voice while I was laying in bed, consumed with physical and psychological pain, when I heard that I was not truly alone like I felt, and I had God, when I chose to start a journey of healing instead of giving up, and there have been so many times along this journey where I have thought that it would be easier to give up than to keep fighting. I have always had a choice in the matter. Nobody can take away my faith. It's a very personal, intimate relationship. I believe in free will choice. I believe in freedom of religion or no religion. I know the journey that I took to get me to my relation in Christ. I would never try to push that beautiful, intimate relationship on anyone. I know what it's done in my life, but you can't force that on somebody. Every single time I thought it was easier to give up, I have made a choice to keep fighting. And when I have felt too weak to fight in my own strength, I have rested. When I have barely felt above water, many times, especially over the last 4 years, when I couldn't comprehend what was going on, why people have chosen to respond to me in the way that they have, why people have not been accepting of who I truly am. I've rested in my faith, and I've been renewed in my strength, and I've been able to keep pushing forward little by little by little. I've been used to do things that I never could have foreseen myself doing during my lifetime. And I live with gratitude. I live with joy. I live with peace, that type of peace that surpasses all understanding. Everything I've gone through in my life, I have reasons to be bitter and to not be forgiving. And note, you can be forgiving and not welcome abusers into your close personal space. I have reasons to live with that ugliness in my spirit, but I choose not to. I refuse to carry that burden as my own. I refuse to let my life be consumed with hatred and dysfunction and abuse and judgment that is not equitable to who I truly am. I refuse to be somebody's mirror where they project their garbage onto me. I choose healing, and I choose love, and I choose faith, and I choose courage and boldness and truth for the rest of the days that I'm afforded here. And I pray that God allows me a lifetime so much longer than what my grandma, who was my best friend, who died in 1999 when I was 17 and she was 64, she was my best friend and mentor. I pray that I'm given longer than my dad, who was so courageous and humble in his apology to me before he died. I pray that I am given longer than the short 53 years that he had. Life is such a beautiful gift, meant to be embraced and appreciated every single day. There's not a day that goes by, and every day is not easy. Far from it. There's not a day that goes by that I don't wake up and thank God for a new day and go to bed with my family and thank Jesus for another day and for provision and for protection. It's such a gift. My life has been far from easy. Abuse was normalized. I broke free from it. I was willing to do the hard work, and the work has been hard. I've been willing to take a good hard look at myself and fight to break cycles of abuse and dysfunction so that I do not let that continue on to my children, and hopefully not on to my children's children. They deserve better. I deserve better. I deserve love, the love that I've always given to other people, even when it was not reciprocated. And that is what I impart in hope for you. So I think I've done enough talking for right now. Again, I have a tooth that was extracted a week ago, and it was bruised, and I think the bruising has went away, but it still feels very odd not to have a tooth there. So if you're tuning in now, there's 2 videos that I did. The first one cut off on me because my computer died. And the second one, this video, is a continuation of that video. I've shared a conversation that I had with a woman, Cici, in a private message on Twitter, which led me to speaking about judging based on appearances, which I've experienced a lot of during my lifetime, and also about the power of one's voice and how one's voice can aid in bringing healing to others, how one's voice can aid in breaking cycles of abuse and bring healing and comfort. I hope that my voice serves someone well today. I hope that what I share can be received by who it's meant to be received by, and that those people, that person, takes the lessons that I have shared and puts them into action in their own life so that they can receive the joy and peace that I experience in my life and live with a life of gratitude. Thank you for those who have taken the time to listen to me. I value your time. And I will be back again whenever I feel led to come on here and share whatever wisdom is imparted onto me. Sending you love.